I decided I would come on because today is February 1st and it is the beginning of Black History Month, a month that is traditionally celebrated or at least acknowledged by the country. And since it is Black History Month, I thought that I'd do my best to come on, I don't know, different times to drop a little Black history knowledge on you. But first, before I get started, I'd like to send my condolences to Regina King and to the family of Chesley Christ, who is a former Miss USA who leapt to her death. Both of these young people committed suicide. We don't always know. I don't know if we always know or even recognize when people are in such pain and so much pain that they would kill themselves. These days, there's so much more for young people to be distracted by. And with social media being around and everyone on social media, looking fabulous. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Kathy W. Thank you for coming. There's this need to want to look like or be like the people you see on social media, even though all of that is fake. It's not real. But my condolences to the family, to Regina King and her family as they grieve the loss of her son, and to the Chesley Chris family and friends. Excuse me. Anyone that has known Chesley has said that she was so bubbly and absolutely beautiful, and so one would wonder why she would go to the 29th floor of a building and jump. What kind of pain must she have been suffering because she looked as if she had everything, beauty, a career, all the things that I guess many of us think we want. But anyway, I just don't know if I'd have I know I don't have the courage. And I do think it takes courage to decide that you're going to take your life. I don't think wimps do it. I think when you determine that you're going to take your life on a certain day, to me, that is courageous, because I'm not going to do that. I'm just not. No matter how chaotic life may feel or look, I still believe that we can wake up to a brighter day. So I want to thank you all for coming. I really do appreciate it. I tried to schedule this at a time when it wouldn't interfere with any of our favorite tarot readers coming on. So thanks for joining me. Now, it is Black History Month. And because it is Black History Month, I think that I will speak to you about the founder of Black History Month, Carter G. Woodson. And it actually began in 1929 as a week. Carter G. Woodson was a journalist. He was a historian and author. He wrote a great book called The Miseducation of the Negro. And he's the founder of the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. So I think he's probably one of the pioneers that actually shone a light on Black people in this country, and may have even been instrumental in those kinds of studies getting placed in colleges all across the land. That is Carter G. Woodson. He's the founder of Black History Month. It was a week, and then in 1976, it became a month. And I can only imagine all of the work that was put into securing a month, and then securing the shortest month. Yeah, well, yeah, y'all can have a month, but we won't give you a month with 31 days in it. But you can have one that's 28 and sometimes 29. We'll take it. Yeah. So I think what I'll do is I'll come on each day for a little while this month just to discuss some of the figures that may be lesser known in our Black history, especially as it pertains to the civil rights movement. Yeah, and just other great African American African Americans who have impacted not just the lives of us, but the lives of the world. So I think that this month is even more important because we're still attempting to get a voting rights bill and Afforded People Act into law. We're still trying to get that done. And while we can be mad at the Lovebirds, Christian Cinema, and Joey Manchin, we have Justice John Roberts in the Supreme Court to thank for the gutting of the Civil Rights Bill. I guess America isn't, racist enough, or somehow we would look. It was thought that it would be an entitlement. I don't know how that could possibly be, but yeah, I'm going to see if I can get my banner going across here. Just give me a minute. There we go. There we go. There we go. So we have John Roberts in the Supreme Court and the go along, get along Clarence Thomas, who has absolutely no integrity. Any man that calls his private parts long dong silver is an asshole. That was part of what was discussed when Anita Hill was brought forth during his confirmation hearing. He has no integrity and should have recused himself from even ruling on the case that had to do with Trump turning over those documents from the National Archives. He was the only dissenting voice. And guess what? It's because of his wife, I do believe. Perhaps there's something in there about her. I guess I ought to mention that this is for entertainment purposes only. Yeah, sometimes I'm entertaining and sometimes shit ain't funny, So I also want to address mental health issues. There seem to be a lot there are many, athletes like Simone Biles and when she decided that she needed to take a mental health break, how toxic people like that Megyn Kelly, I think is her name. It's difficult to be sympathetic to that bitch, when she wanted to talk about how she was treated by Roger Ailes, but the way you treat other people, it's just a little bit difficult to be sympathetic to you. She made a crack at Simone Biles when she decided that she wasn't going to participate in the Olympics last year. She didn't want to bring her whole team down. She was a team captain, and she was suffering what they call the whirlies, which if she had done any of the great, she set the bar so high in gymnastics. If she attempted to do any of those magnificent things, it could have ended in her death, or at least serious injury. So I don't understand why anybody like Megyn Kelly and Pierce, what's his name, the fat boy who's a British boy who's angry because Megyn didn't choose his fat ass. I forget it, Pierce somebody. Why they would make a crack on her, because on their best day, they probably couldn't do this much of what she does in a day, So there's so many young people who are being influenced by social media, Instagram, TikTok, all these places that they can go to talk to talk about themselves or see other people talk about themselves or to latch on to a particular group of people. I mean, if you have children, I would suggest that you ask them about their usage on social media and how it makes them feel, because I think Regina King's son wrote one of his last posts saying he didn't think Instagram was good for him. Instagram has become a place where people can bully somebody. There have been other suicides because of the bullying that has gone on there, as well as women going through these intense surgeries to get a body to look like an Instagram model, and not always doing it the right way. I mean, K. Michelle has a show on the Life channel. Lifetime, is it? And I think it's called Suffering in Silence, where she, if you remember, she shared her story about the trouble she was having when she had gotten, I think she got implants and then had gotten silicone or something on top of the implants, and how her body began to break down because of them. And she talked about having to have those things removed and having to have lots of butter cut out. And she went through for many years. I'll just put you up on it. She went through for many years thank you, Jaconda. Yeah, I'm so glad Simone Biles and those other team members went before Congress. I am too, and testified. Not only did they testify about not only their mental health, but they testified about their about Larry, what's his name, that coach who had abused them all. I mean, that's a lot of shit to walk around with. That is a lot to carry. And so I think about, back to K. Michelle. I saw this show where she's helping women who have gotten those injections of silicone, which is industrial silicone. It's not medical grade silicone, and who have gotten things or have gone to surgeons who have done terrible jobs on their body. And she helps them get the help that they need and to correct some of the damage that has been done. And this one that I saw, there's a woman who works within the medical field. She didn't say exactly what she does, but she works within the medical field. And her buttock had gotten black from the injections that she had put in. And this was not, you would think somebody in the medical field would know better. I think she used industrial silicone, because when the doctor showed the photographs or the x-rays, you could see the clusters of this stuff. And he was talking about how much of her cheek that he was going to have to remove. You know, you're saying the cheek is going to have to go. And then after they do that, they have to kind of build another cheek. But she was slowly dying, very, very ill, because that stuff started to get inside of her body. So Instagram models aren't necessarily people that you should be looking up to, I don't think, or inspired by, because they can put on some pasties and a G-string and stand on their tiptoes and push their ass up in the air and talk about what a great life they have. There are some of the so-called models. I thought models walked the runway. I thought they wore designer clothes and I mean, I never seen none of those bitches over at the fashion week in Paris. They don't show them going there. But I do remember some time ago there was a story about a woman who was an Instagram model, and she got an invitation by someone from I guess it was Saudi Arabia, somewhere in United Arab Emirates or Abu Dhabi or somewhere. And she was invited to come there. And this person said that they would pay her money and pay for her room and buy her a few items, and that while she was there, he wanted her to take care of a friend of his who was on his last legs, and he just wanted to be able to have his friend have a good time before he transitioned. And his good friend turned out to be his camel. Okay? Yeah, his camel was his friend. And even though this person said she wasn't that kind of girl, I do believe there were some photographs of her taken while she went over there. So she was obviously that kind of goddamn girl. So we need to check on our children. We need to check in with them regularly to make sure that they're not being troubled by something. And if you notice anything, by all means, get up in their business. Sometimes, young people don't like you all up in their face. That's for real. They really don't. They don't like you to know their stuff all the time. But if you sense that any young person in your life is going through something, then get involved, because I would not want to. I just am just saddened every time I hear about a young person taking their life. Okay, so here we are, Black History Month. And we're learning about white folks, some of them, white people wanting to whitewash America. They're banning books written by Black authors, Jewish authors, anybody of color authors. Banning books. A teacher, according to Axios, can point out where Tulsa, Oklahoma is, but they can't tell you about the massacre in the Greenwood district of Tulsa. Because white people got to always come out on the top because they're the smartest. They're the greatest. So now, I believe they said 77 school districts, if memory recalls, have sent out notifications saying you can't mention gay, can't talk about the LGBTQIA community, and telling them you can't, and if you're going to teach about, you can't teach anything Black because it makes little white children uncomfortable. Never mind the discomfort that my people and our children have suffered and do suffer every day. Our discomfort does not matter. So now, not only are we still in this fight to be able to vote in this country, fairly, might I add, now they want to return. When I went to school, slavery was about 2 paragraphs in a history book. I learned about myself and our history at home through the books my mother had and what she was teaching us. She and my father were teaching us. We didn't get it from school. America does not want to face the ugly parts of her, and yet the ugly parts are in full display. What do you call what happened on January 6th in 2020? If not an ugly, disgusting display. And the man who opened Pandora's box or lit the fuse, you see, because as a Black woman, as Black people, we're always aware that racism exists. We're not ignorant to that. We're aware of it, because depending on where we are, workplace, schools, wherever we are, there's always going to be something or someone to to remind us that we're the other. We're not one of them. And so the reason I think this is the most important month is that we must be reminded to tell our stories to our children. Study the 1619 Project, because slavery is American history, like it or not. No, it's not the pretty part, but what about the building of this country is pretty? Did you not have to fight against the British in order to form this more perfect union? And did you not wage war with the Native Americans, the Native First Nation people, to just rob them of all their stuff? Just rob them. Take all their beautiful land and push them onto little corners of it. What is beautiful about the forming of this more perfect union? We are going to tell our stories, and we are going to tell them. No longer will old white men tell our stories. No more. We will tell our own stories. And now we have a big kerfuffle over President Biden wanting to keep a campaign promise. Mind you, he isn't the first president who promised to do anything while campaigning. He promised that when he appointed a person to the Supreme Court, it would be a Black woman. Now people are all up in arms. Not because they're not qualified, just because they're Black. I briefly glanced at something Joe Manchin was saying, and I think I caught a couple of lines where he was saying, will she be able to get along with everybody? Will she sit down and listen? Fuck you, Joe. What kind of questions are those? How dare you? Will she get along with the people? You act as if we're incapable of being human. What kind of questions are those? One Republican congressman or whether says it's affirmative action. No, it isn't. Now, you know, if you got Miss Lindsay coming out saying it's not affirmative action, because Judge Childs is from South Carolina, you know, if he's coming out and saying this is not affirmative action, this is because of the diversity that is occurring and has occurred in this country. It might have been mostly white before, I don't know, I don't remember. But as time has passed, this nation has become more diversified. More people of color from all over the world have come here. And those of us who were born and live here and have experienced what it is to be an African American person or Black American, whatever we call ourselves. I like Black American. Don't want to hear. You know, I have a few Africans that I've encountered who want to argue that Black Americans don't know what they have. What? Oh, we're aware of what we have. And we're also aware of what we don't have. So I always take the opportunity to remind them that they have been colonized, especially they come from Nigeria. You were colonized by the British, and so that their language is the first language, so that your native tongue may not always be spoken. That you couldn't do what you're doing here in this country had it not been for those who lost their lives and marched and had hoses turned on them and dogs sicked on them and were thrown in jail, beaten to death. You couldn't do what you're doing. Yeah, we know what we have, son. So I look at these brilliant Black justices, these women that President Biden is mulling over. And I'm so very proud. There was a mention that Ketanji Brown, I believe, Judge Ketanji Brown. I remember when Sheldon Whitehouse, I believe it was Sheldon Whitehouse, was talking to Amy Coney Barrett at her confirmation, and he stated that her resume was a little thin for her to be appointed to a lifetime appointment on the bench. Now, none of those Black women have thin resumes. They are prepared to sit on the bench. You see, because people talked about affirmative action being the way that unqualified Blacks got gigs. That's a lie. Affirmative action actually helped white women more than it did anybody Black. But just let me say this. There is no such thing as an unqualified Black candidate for anything they're applying for. No such thing. We're not allowed to be unqualified. If anything, we must be overqualified. Because every Black kid is taught that whatever we do, we have to do it better than our white counterparts. And what happens? We raise the fucking bar. So that's an affirmative action lie. And the shoe shine boy on the bench, Long Don Silver, Long Don Kong, or whatever he's calling his private parts. Oh my God, just to think about Clarence Thomas's penis and balls. What a nightmare. He and Jenny are wretched creatures and they deserve each other. He was also against affirmative action. He voted right along to help gut this Civil Rights Act. And I think Judge Breyer probably got the message. Maybe he probably thought to himself, I need to leave right now. Because even though it won't change the structure of the court unless the court is expanded, I think Justice Breyer could see the politicization of this court. He could see it. I heard Susan Collins make some kind of comment. Oh, that Biden is politicizing the court. Why is anybody talking to that bitch about a goddamn thing? You lied once when you said that you weren't going to vote for the tax increases for the wealthy, but you ended up voting for the tax increases for the wealthy. You didn't mind voting for an alleged rapist going to sit on the court. stood up and made this long speech to try to justify your bad act. And he promised me that he wasn't going to overturn precedent, which is exactly what he's doing now. How can any Republican talk about politicization when everything that they do is political? It's for politics, for themselves, really. This month, I hope that Black people come out loud and strong, and we tell our stories and we make our presence known. We're not going away. There are some people who have moved to other countries, and that's great. I applaud them for it. I've visited many countries, and I can honestly say that I am always happy to get back on American soil. I don't care where I've been and how lovely a time it was. I was always happy to return to the United States. I'm going to read some of your comments. Jaconda says, this world, I just put the comments up. That way I don't have to read it. Y'all can read it for yourself. She says, the world is about, well, listen to me, I'm reading anyway. This world is about to go into a better place. Yes, and those people know they can't come, so they want to pull us back into hell. That's right. Everybody, including them, has to heal. We all have to heal. We really do, because to be perfectly honest with you, I have had moments when I've had to really talk myself out of the anger and what was beginning to feel like hatred toward white people. We have knuckle-dragging, low-vibrating, diseased human beings out here talking about Heil Hitler in Florida. And I guess the scientist chief of staff, or whatever her title is, tried to come out to ask if they were really Nazis. Well, they were carrying the flag. They draped something over a bridge with a swastika, and they were standing up talking about Heil Hitler. Seems to me the only people that don't dig the United States are the maggots. You always trying to tell somebody to go back where they came from. Why don't you? You can't even you can't even do that Nazi shit in Germany. And if you think for one moment that any person who remembers the Holocaust, which a few days ago there was the remembrance of that heinous act, if you think for 1 minute in this country that you will prevail, no, you got another thing coming. You all seem to think that because you can carry a gun, don't be like Elmer Thud, what's his name, that's in prison for sedition right now. Shot his eye out, given a gun safety class. Now you know that I would have asked for a fucking refund. And you know that bullet had to scramble his thinking. And his wife is so happy he's in lockdown, baby. She's telling all this stuff. She took her children, and I think she moved back to the Philippines or is anticipating. She's telling all his stuff. She is relieved that his ass is in prison. And I bet she is praying that he never gets out. Speaking of sedition, seditionists and traitors, Zaddy's back on the road again. Now, after his confessions and admissions at his Texas rally, I'm wondering why he isn't handcuffed already, why his Miranda rights haven't been read and they haven't drug his ass off. I'm wondering about that. I'm wondering how many more facts does Merrick Garland need? I'm wondering how he can't say, we can't talk about his intention. He made it clear at his hate rally what his intention was. He made it clear. And now with all the fake documents being sent to the National Archives, the fake electors, the liars, the gerrymandering going on in all these states, and their attempt to ensure that Republicans win, I don't think it's going to work. I pray it won't work. And I pray that Democrats and those who truly want to be about change and see a change turn out in such high numbers and high volume that they won't be able to pick who they want to be. It'll just be, it'll put all their asses up in court and perhaps in prison too. And he's calling for another riot in the places where he's being tried: New York, DC, and Atlanta. The people that are coming after that ass, and they're gonna get it. Calling us racist, baby. Racism is a white construct. We didn't create it. We know all about it. And if we feel some kind of way about injustice, we feel some kind of way about the treatment of our people, if we feel some kind of way about it, I think there was in one of my earlier lives, a lady came on and said, Black people can be racist too. Yeah, we can be prejudiced. Yeah, we sure can. It's amazing that many more of us are not. Until you've had an uncle strung up in a tree, disemboweled, with his penis stuck in it, until you've had something like that happen to your family member because of his skin color. Then you can talk to me about it. I don't know if it's the Lunar New Year or what. I've been really affected. I've been sleeping a lot. I just seem to get up at about 4 a.m. I'm full of steam, and then about 4 p.m. or so, I kind of hit the wall and I'm down for the count. And this morning I woke up and I was feeling a bit unsettled. And maybe it's because I am watching the news. We have had bomb threats phoned in at our historically Black colleges and universities. What are you going to do? What are you trying to do? Kill us? Kill us all? Kill our young generation? What kind of shit is that? And this man, this menace, this demon who speaks to these large crowds always says, they're doing it to me, but they're really doing it to you. Yay! Doing what? You have committed more crimes and have stayed. You've lived, you had a good fucking run where you're lying and you're cheating and you're stealing. And it's time to pay the piper. and there's people that you're telling to come out, you don't think any of those comments go unnoticed. There's an old saying that says, you got to bring some to get some. And what I know, what I feel in the spirit, you won't make it to 2024. And if you do, you will not be running. And all these ones that are trying to out Trump you or outdo you, they won't be presidents either. I don't understand how people can stand with Death Santis in Florida as a governor. What the fuck is wrong with him? And Abbott. I was listening to some other readers, and it seems that I'm not the only one that thinks that Sinema is having an affair. I just know who she's having it with, see. I've said it. I think she and Joe, they don't say nothing about Joe's wife being on a yacht. I think she and Joe been hitting it. Watch their body language. Watch how she gets up real close to him, like right up under his, like right up under his arm. She's short, she's tiny or small, smaller than he is. Watch their body language. There's something up with that, and I'm not taking it back. And I bet it's gonna only be a matter of time, baby, before somebody rats them out. I'm gonna read some more of your comments. I really thank all of you for coming in. Oh yeah, happy birthday to everyone who has a February birthday. My sister's is the 22nd. My nephew's is the 13th. I know 2 people born on the 13th. You had to kind of know they can't be Nazis in Germany. They cannot do that shit there. Okay? Yeah, it's kind of a disgusting thought, but I know there's something going on with those two. I just can't get it out of my mind. Oh, here we go. Here I am fucking with the screen, and I don't know how to get it back to the size that I want it. How do I do that? Zoom. What the? How do I? Oh my God! I hate it when I put my finger on the mouse and it does this. I'm just trying to see how I can fix it. All I did, whoops, what happened? That's me talking. I can hear me talking. I took myself out of the thing. Look, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave the studio and come back in where I can get more control of this. Y'all hang tight for a minute. Oh, how embarrassing. I don't know why that happens. That there's something I do on the mouse that pulls the screen right up really big, and I've never figured out how to make it back to where I can actually handle and see y'all. So I think that's my rant. I have to say that I've had concerns about the future of my people in this country. I've had I've had feelings. Um, I have to believe that the Creator, the infinite wisdom, the God I say I serve, it sees all, knows all, and that He is in control. He and she, because I really believe that a woman would, I don't know that a man in his creation would put eyelashes on us. That's a female thing. That's female energy to me. The little fine things that happen in our bodies, that's female energy. And in the Essene Gospels of Peace, Yeshua does give honor to the Father in heaven and the Mother upon earth. I do all I can to keep myself in a loving space, because truth be told, even the people we don't like are part of the creation. I don't want to start crying because I'm really hurt to think that somebody would call in bomb threats or even think about bombing our HBCUs with our babies. And I think I've had it with, no matter how beautiful, how articulate, how respectful, how decent we are as people, we're still not treated as people in this country. We're still looked upon as lesser than. I'm certain that it comes from the inferiority that is felt, because there's no way you can possibly think that someone like Barack Obama is a lesser man than the last person that was in the White House. So I want to share with you a poem that I read when I feel myself going over the rails. And when I feel that anger building up, and I feel as if I just want to go out and maybe fuck with somebody white so they can fuck with me, and I have an excuse to to argue or something. I have to. I read this poem. It's a poem called Love by one of the New Thought, not New Age, he was a New Thought person. It wouldn't matter to me if he was New Age. This is a beautiful poem. And I refer to it often and I read it often. The poem is it's just entitled Love. There is no difficulty that enough love will not conquer. No disease that enough love will not heal. No door that enough love will not open. No gulf that enough love will not bridge. No wall that enough love will not throw down. No sin that enough love will not redeem. It makes no difference how deeply seated may be the trouble, how hopeless the outlook, how muddled the tangle, how great the mistake. A sufficient realization of love will dissolve it all. If only you could love enough, you would be the happiest and most powerful being in the world. Isn't that beautiful? I don't know where all of this emotion is coming from. I really don't. So pardon me. It didn't feel like this earlier. I don't know where it's coming from. I love that poem. I love Emmett Fox's work, period. I think he epitomizes what it is to be a true man of God, a true man of the Creator, a true man spreading the good news, the gospel. And I did promise you an oracle reading. So let me get my cards. The last time I got some new oracle cards, and I'm going to use them after I get familiar with them. These are called the African Goddess. These are called the African Goddess Oracle, and I just got them, and I'm learning. I'm learning about them. So when I get familiar with them, then I will share. I will start using those. For now, I just like my very first set of my little ones. I think Adrian or Johnny, one of them, gifted me with them. And I really love these little cards. They are my friends. And I did say I'd sing a song. I don't even know if I could get through one right now. I would be bubbling, snotting all through the damn thing. I just feel, I don't know, I feel that, I don't know if it's an ache or if, how did I get these all boogered up like this? If where all of this emotion is coming up, I may have to detox from the news for a while because that could be contributing to my stress, or not my stress exactly, but my emotions, my I feel for people. I feel for people that are going through. I just do, because we all have our stuff. We all have our stuff we're trying to work out, that we're trying to get through every day. And my pronouncement of this is the day the Lord hath made, I will rejoice and be glad in it, and that something wonderful is happening now, or something wonderful is about to happen, or I get up with and expect every event coming to me. I look for the good in it. That I will look for the good in it, and it doesn't mean that I don't have, that I don't have things that trouble me, or because that's totally untrue. I do have my troubles, my things that kind of worry me. And I had said I was not going to worry anymore, and actually I'm doing a pretty good job of not worrying, not giving a toss, because it don't do no good to worry, child. Just make you look old and bitter. And I don't want to be any of that. Okay, what do you want us to know for the week? The beautiful blessing that you want us to have for the week. On the bottom, there is abundance. There's an abundance of love. I again was watching a reader, and someone was asking about food shortages in this country, and the reader reminded them of what a real food shortage is. When you look at babies dying of starvation in Yemen, Afghanistan, all over Africa, in Russia, there are even people that are close to starving in Israel. When we think of shortages, it just means you might not have what you want when you go in the supermarket. They might not have restocked, or it might have been purchased. I remember walking into a Walmart some years ago with some friends, one of the super Walmarts. And for some reason, I just stopped in the middle of the store and I marveled at all of the choices that were available to us just in the produce section. You don't have one kind of lettuce. You have 5 or 6 different kinds of lettuce. 5 or 6 kinds of peppers, just the abundance of it all. And I marveled at that. Just how much abundance we have. Yeah, I'm going to get it right. In this nation, we see that this is a full moon, and this woman is it's called the Hunter Moon. It's a pretty card. So do your best. Try not to complain and don't worry about food shortages. Don't even think about it. We're not short of any food. You have to take into consideration people are ill. They're sick. They're sheltering in. Some people just ain't coming back to work. They're not doing that anymore. They may have, during the COVID months, begun their own businesses. Of course, we had that cargo issue, I guess, where the tankers were ready to be unloaded. There was nobody to unload them. All of these things that are coming about are teaching Americans just what we have been blessed with. And what we have taken for granted. And so now we have a bunch of crazy ass people, and they are crazy. They are idiots. He wanted to say that the people coming after him are sick in the head. No, the people following you are sick in the motherfucking head. You are sick in the head. Because you only want people to come out. You think you're going to force your way back in the office. No, son, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So the next time we complain about wanting to get, we don't want a hamburger, we want a chicken sandwich, and they out of chicken or something. Just think about what all the other chicken sandwiches you had, and that the chicken sandwich will come back and will return. You'll get it another day, but maybe you need to eat the hamburger today. Just give it some thought. I don't know. This is on the bottom. I would usually pull from the top. Let me pull from the top first. I don't know why. She keeps coming up. Faith. She keeps showing up. Faith. We all know what faith is. This one says it is the worm. It's represented by the worm moon. All of these have full moons. We all know what faith is. It's trusting in the unseen. Knowing that we can make the next step. Trusting that just because we had a little hold up in our dreams and desires and wishes doesn't mean that we're going to always be stuck. Don't give up. Don't give up on any dream. You ain't too old. If you still got breath in your lungs, pardon me, this ain't even cute, but y'all, I don't know what's happening. My nose is running. Because I guess maybe we had a beautiful day today. It was almost 60 today here and sunny. It's been pretty cold and bitter. While the north was getting pummeled by snow and stuff, we were just getting cold. We had some rain and it was really cold. The temperatures dipped and it was overcast, but winters are never, to me, really bad here. They come and they go quickly. But back to faith. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So keep on calling those things that be not as if they are. Just keep talking, just keep thinking about them and writing your stuff down and taking a look at it. And if you're working on a business, do what you can to, because it is with my music project, I've hit a bump, I've hit a little bit of a bump, but I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep on moving and get this thing done. I'm determined to have this project done. It's an ambitious one for me, but I don't know how to dream small. I don't know how to ask for small stuff. I've always asked big, large, because that way, because if you ask, you can't say it had to be God. All I did was ask. I think it's if your dreams aren't scaring you, you're not dreaming big enough. Yeah. So this one on the bottom says extremes. I would caution that we don't go to extremes in anything we do, that we kind of find that balance. We see what extremism is doing to people's minds. This one is represented by the hot moon. Ooh, ooh, ooh. We see what extremes are doing to people. We see what hatefulness, the bitterness, the hate. We see what those extremes are doing. We see them out in the streets now. And everybody can carry a gun now. In some states, they're trying to get something through in the state where all you have to do is just you don't have to have a permit to carry. You can just put your name in a database and say you want a gun and go get one. So everybody can carry a gun now. Do your best to find balance in your life. I can't emphasize enough how important it is for you to take care of yourself. Yourself first. You can't run on empty. Take care of yourself. And it's sometimes tough for women with husbands and children, but it's important that you do it, that you take care of yourself. You snatch some time for yourself. Extremes. Let's watch out for the extremes. Always expect the unexpected. This one seems to show up quite a bit too. And don't let it be a situation where you are asking for something and expecting the worst. That's not what I'm talking about. Don't pray and ask for something if you're going to expect the worst or worry. When you pray, you have to know a spiritual transaction has occurred. That prayer exists, and then it's up to you to trust and believe and to walk in faith, knowing that your dream and your desire will come to pass. That it will come to pass. And the last one is going to be the path. You know, they say to trust your gut, that still small voice. Do that. It'll never mislead you. Don't second guess because you can hear a whisper in your ear. Our angels are talking to us also. They whisper in your ear. You can hear them. And they will never mislead you. And neither will that when you say that gut feeling, it will never mislead you. It will show you the path. It'll show you the way to go. It will give you direction. Yeah. So tomorrow I'm going to come on. I'm going to check to see. I might come on a little earlier because I don't know who's going to be doing readings, and I don't want to miss any of them. And I know you don't either. I know many of you are mods. I don't know if Connor Mancy Mesquite and Sharon Sipe are still mods over here. I mean, it's not like I got this like over a bus. It's not like I really there were a few times when we had trolls, but I do recall that I went into my YouTube and made them mods. However, I did have a breakdown with my laptop and it had to be repaired. So it may have knocked out some of those settings that I put in. But anyway, I want to thank you all for coming to see me. These are new beginnings. We got new beginnings to look forward to. Yay! New beginnings. Yeah. And letting me have my moment. I don't know where it came from. I don't know whose vibe I was feeling, or maybe it's just me releasing some of these thoughts and concerns that I have, because this month to me is very special. And I know that I'm going to be telling my stories and getting with a group of young people and telling them our stories, because, you know, there were so many heroes that were involved with civil rights, and these children know more about Martin Luther King than they know about a Sojourner Truth or a Fannie Lou Hamer or an Ida B. Wells. There were and many women on the front lines. So I'm going to come on daily and share a story about some of the heroes that I learned about, and how they ought to be honored, and why we as Black people should feel a sense of pride, and that we should never give up, and that no matter how it looks, show your ass up at the polls, because if you don't, then you don't have any reason to complain, because you have contributed to the bullshit. So let's see who else. Hi, Phyllis. You say you had worry and anxiety for a couple of years. You say got a bitch. Girl, go throw that shit in the garbage, okay? Sweet. That's fun. I can speak on worry because I have I could be a consummate worrier if I wanted to, because I tend to kind of drift into that direction, but I'm not going to do it anymore. It doesn't. It only keeps you. You kind of get locked. You know, you can't think a new thought. It doesn't improve anything. It doesn't help you resolve anything. And I mean, you know, sometimes you just really got to say, fuck it. Shit. I've done all I know to do. Now I have to give it to a higher power, trust that there's something else at work, and that all is well. You know, I just won't do it anymore. I will not do it. I know that I just know that if I were to not keep myself in check, I'd be worried all the time. And I don't want it. Doesn't feel good. It just doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel good. Oh, thank you, Jaconda. You got a light a candle for me. I appreciate it. Thank you, Edwina Stevens, for coming on. I love you too, and I really do. Thank you so much for coming on. I was thinking about a song, but I can't think of one right now. So I'll prepare a song for tomorrow when I come on with our next Black History lesson. I want to thank you, every one of you, for coming on. Just thank you so much. And I'll see you tomorrow. I'll put out, the notice of when I'm going to come, and I'll prepare a song for you tomorrow. Uh, I just feel I would get all choked up and nose be running and shit. That ain't cute. I'd lose control of the song. You got to have an element of control. So I promise you I'll sing you one tomorrow. I'll think of something really, really nice to sing. And until then, I want every one of you to enjoy the rest of your evening. Get some love and snuggle up with somebody. I mean, if you want, get you some food, put on your eating clothes, and overindulge in ice cream or whatever it is. But do something that you're enjoying tonight. And I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Love you all. Bye-bye.